Okay, so this was your homework problem from last night. Let's go ahead and go over it. So Caleb earns points on his credit card that he can use towards future purchases. He earns 4 points per dollar spent on flights. I'm going to let X represent flights. And 2 points per dollar spent at hotels. I'm going to let Y represent hotels. And 1 point per dollar spent on all other purchases. I'm going to let Z represent all other purchases. So guys, this is my point equation. How many points do I have total? Yep, 14,660. So I'm going to write that right here. This is my equation involving points. Now let's do an equation involving money. The amount of money spent on flights, hotel, and other purchases came out to $9,480. That's my money problem. Okay, now the last one we're going to have. It says the amount of money spent on flights. Which variable represents flights? X. So the amount of money spent on flights, that's represented by X, was, whenever you see words like was or is, just put an equal sign. So we have the amount of money spent on flights was $140 more than twice the amount of money spent on hotels. Hotels is represented by Y. I want twice the amount of money spent on hotels. What should I put? 2Y. So that is your third equation. Just go through the sentence and write the corresponding mathematic symbol, okay? So those are my 3 equations. Notice that my last equation only has X and it only has Y. This has X and Y. So what variable do I not have? Z. So guys, let's go ahead and get rid of Z from these equations here. We have to eliminate the same variable. So let's multiply this bottom equation by a -1. Everyone go ahead and do that. We're going to multiply the bottom equation by a -1. And let's see what we get. -1 times X is -X. This will be -Y, -Z, -9,480. Is everyone okay so far? The reason why I did this is because look very closely. This positive Z cancels out with this negative Z. Okay? Now I'm only going to have X's and Y's. 4X minus X is what? 3X. 2Y minus Y is what? Positive Y. The Z's are gone. And then what is this? 14,660 minus 9,480. 5,180? Is that what you guys got? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so guys, look. I have an equation here with X and Y, and I have an equation here with X and Y. Now we can do what we've been doing. The hard part is over. So guys, let's write down my 2 equations. I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to write it nice and pretty over here. So this bottom equation is 3X plus Y equals 5,180. This one right here, I'm going to copy it down. I have X. Look. I'm going to move this 2Y to the other side. What will it be now? There we go. Equals what? 140. Okay, now my variables are aligned. What would you guys like to do? Multiply this top one by 2. Good. Also, for those of you guys who prefer substitution, you can also just put this right here if you like substitution. Anyway, let's continue. 2 times 3 is 6x. 2 times y is 2y. What is this? 2,000 times 5,180. 10,360? Okay. Yay, these canceled. I am left with x plus 6x is 7x. What is 140 plus 10,360? 10,000 what? Thank you. Okay, Datu, what do I do to both sides? Thank you. Divide by 7. Let me know what you guys get. 1,500? That's correct. So this means, guys, that Caleb spent $1,500 on flights. How do I find Y? How much he spent on hotels? Good, let's plug it in. So guys, I'm just gonna erase, I'll just use this equation right here. I'll use this one down here. So I'll put instead of an X right here, what do I put? 1,500, so I'll just use this one. What's 1,500 times 3? And what do we do to both sides? Yep, we will subtract. So subtract 4,500.
Wait, where'd you get the?
That was part of the equation.
Oh.
I'm using this equation.
Oh.
You can use any equation. I just chose that one. We'll get the same answer. So no matter which one you chose, we'll get the same answer. So I'm going to subtract this. And what do we get? 680? Perfect. So if you use this, it's kind of messy. If you use this equation right here, you'll get the same thing. Okay, if you use this one. Okay, so we found out what Y was. How do I find out what Z is? Yep. You're going to use one of these big equations. So let me clear off the board a little bit. We can use the top one, or we can use the one right below it. I'm going to use the one right below it because it looks simpler. So guys, we found out what Y is, and we found out what X is. So for X, I'm going to put 1,500. For Y, I'm going to put 680. So if we add these together, 1,500 plus 680, I get 2,180. So this is 2,180 plus Z is equal to 9,480. What should I do to both sides? Yep, subtract 2,180 and I get 0,037, 7,300. So this is how much money I spent on other expenses. And Caleb spent $680 on hotels. All right, so guys, this is how I want you to write your final answer. You should always put your X variable first, so it should be 1,500. Your Y variable comes next. Z comes last. So this is how you write your answers. X, Y, Z. Okay. So go ahead, if you were just waiting on me to go over this one, go ahead and turn in your homework now that we went over this homework problem, and we'll move on. Okay, first problem. Billy's restaurant ordered 200 flowers for Mother's Day. They ordered carnations, that's a type of flower, I'm gonna represent it by X, at $1.50 each. Roses, that's another type of thing that he bought. And daisies, that's another thing he bought. So I have my variables X, Y, and Z. He bought 200 flowers total. So guys, your first equation, he bought carnations and roses and daisies. And he bought 200 items total. That's your first equation. Your next equation, I'm going to do money. It was $1.50 for each carnation, $5.75 for each rose, and $2.60 for each daisy. And the total order was $589.50. That's your second equation. Your next equation, they ordered mostly carnations and 20 fewer roses than daisies. Guys, I'm going to box the important part. This is what we know for certain. They ordered 20 fewer roses than daisies. Think about that for a moment. 20 fewer roses than daisies. Okay, so just for example, if I bought 100 daisies, how many roses should I have? 80. Good. The whole class said it. Does that make sense? Because there's 20 fewer roses. So what you guys did in your head just now, you said the number of daisies, which in this case we said was 100, minus 20 gave you what? I want a sentence like I did over here. What did it give me? Yes, it gave me the number of roses. So the number of daisies, you subtract 20 to get the number of roses. Can you guys write the third equation on your paper? Write it down. Look. Daisies. What letter did we represent with daisies? Z. Okay, so this should be a Z. Minus 20 equals, how did we represent number of roses?
Y.
With a Y. So this is your third equation. Okay? We now have 3 equations on the board. Notice this equation only has Z and Y. So what do you think I'm going to try to eliminate over here? We're going to eliminate X. So everyone, go ahead and put parentheses around here. We're going to get rid of X. I'm going to multiply by negative 1.50. No, you don't need the 0, but I'm going to write it. All right, guys, go ahead and multiply it in. So this times that, we get negative 1.50x, negative 1.50y, negative 1.50z, negative, what do we get? 300. $200 times negative 1.50 is negative 300. Okay, now look, guys, I'm going to cancel these out. And you can put this in your calculator. This is what you're going to type into your calculator if you're using one. 5.75 minus 150. Please tell me what you get. Thank you. 4.25. Y is what you get. Next in your calculator, you do 2.60 minus 1.50. And that is, thank you. What is it? Oh, okay, that's right. 1.10 or 1.1, whichever one you put. And then what is 589.50 minus 300? 200 what? 89.50. Okay, this is what you guys should have. This is my new equation. Let me write it a little neater. Can you guys see that in blue? Do y'all see the blue? Okay. All right, so this is my equation. Okay, So, guys, look, let me just point something out. This has a y and this has a z. This has a y and this has a z. That's what we wanted. Okay? So I'm going to write this equation down. Guys, I'm going to take this equation over here and write it over here. But before I do that, think with me real quick. I'm going to move z to be over here with the y. So I'm going to have negative 20 equals y. When I move the z over here, what happens? Yep, so it'll be a minus z. Okay, we can also rewrite this as y minus z equals negative 20, right? We just flipped it over. Is that okay? Okay. All right, so I'm going to move this over here. I have y minus z equals negative 20. All righty. Okay, let's go ahead and eliminate. So I'm going to multiply this top or this bottom equation by what? Yeah, we can do that. Let's go ahead and multiply by negative 4.25. All right, guys, we're going to distribute. Look, this times y is negative 4.25y, negative 4.25z. And I'm going to need your help, guys. What is negative 4.25 times negative 20? Positive 85. Thank you. Okay, so guys, we're going to be looking at this equation with this equation, okay? These two equations. Yes, thank you. Negative 4.25 times this negative z, two negatives make a positive. So make sure you have a positive 4.25z. Thumbs up if you have that. Thank you, good. Thank you for catching that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. 4.25 and negative 4.25 are gone, they canceled. 1.10 plus 4.25 is what? 5.35z. $289.50 plus $85 is what? 374.5? Yes? Okay. All right, guys, go ahead. Oh, 0.5. Go ahead and divide both sides by, what are we dividing by? 5.35. Let me know what you guys get for z. Z is equal to what? 70? Perfect. So go ahead and box that. Okay, which equation do you guys want me to use to figure out y? This one? Perfect. Uh-oh. Let's do this one. This equation right here. So guys, look. I'm going to erase this z, and what do I put in its spot? 70. All right. Melinda, what do I do to both sides? Yes. This is subtracting 70. The opposite is to add 70 to both sides. All right, guys, what is negative 20 plus 70? 50. There we go. So it looks like Y stands for roses. So we bought 50 roses. Z stands for daisies. So we got 70 daisies. And how do we find the number of carnations? The very first equation? Yes. All right, so let me make some space here. We're going to use this very first equation that we had. I'm going to clear some space. All right. Okay, so I have y is 50 and z is 70. So let's plug that in. This was 50, this is 70. 50 plus 70 is 120. And what do I do to both sides? Subtract. Subtract. So guys, how many carnations do I have? 80. So we have 80 carnations. This is how I want you to write your answer. X comes first, so you should have 80. Y was 50 and Z was 70. This is how you write your solutions. All right, guys, flip to number 4. I'm just going to help you set it up. All right. So Julie is fencing in a rectangular garden. Guys, let's draw a rectangular garden. The perimeter of the garden is 44 feet. What does perimeter mean? Huh? All the sides added up, the outside? Perfect. So that means this side, and this side, this side, and this side. When you add them all up, you get 44. Can you guys write an equation for me then? I'm going to come around and check. All right, nice job. Most of you guys had it. So x plus x is 2x. Y plus another y is 2y. So when you add up all the sides, you'll get 44. That's one of your equations. Now, guys, think with me. The longest side, according to my picture, what variable represents the longest side? Okay, put a y right there so we don't forget. That means the shorter side is x. Okay, just go through the sentence with me. The longest side, y, of the garden is. What do you put when you see the word is? An equal sign. One more. What are you going to put? 1 and a plus. Because we're going to add 1 to whatever we're doing. We're going to add 1 to whatever we do. It wants 1 more. Then twice, what do we put? 2, twice the shorter side. Okay, there we go. This is 1 more than twice the shorter side. So you have the shorter side, we have twice the shorter side, and we add 1 to it. Make sense? Those are your 2 equations. Go ahead and solve.